Hi everyone, and welcome to my new video. It's Christmas time, so what better type of video to do than a K-pop predictions one? As you can see by the title of the video, today I am presenting you my K-pop predictions for next year. Last year I also did a video like this, and I actually got some pretty right, but others were completely wrong. So, let's see how my sixth sense is working this year. Before going to the video, I wanted to clarify that the predictions I do are not necessarily what I want to happen to the group, but rather what I feel like may happen to them next year, based on various factors, like their popularity in the last comebacks, their own situation, and many others, but also based on my instinct. For real, if I say something bad about your favorite group, don't take it harshly, because it's not what I want for them in 2022, it's just what I feel may happen to them next year. With that said, let's move on to our first prediction. Treasure will blow up massively in 2022. I know, I said the same last year, but bear with me, they literally had one comeback in January, right after their 3 releases from 2020, and then they disappeared. I know they are doing now some kind of their own drama, but that's not something that will give them many new fans, and besides that, they had nothing. Come on YG, are you pulling a Blackpink on Treasure? I don't need the answer, I know they are, and I am saying to you right now, it will work. I wanted to congratulate Treasure's fandom because they have been supporting the boys for so long, with the bare minimum. First was the delayed debut for about 1 year and a half, and now 1 year without a single comeback. With all this, tunes are still growing strong and showing Treasure their love and making them one of the biggest 4th-gen boy groups. Now, we have all this anticipation for Treasure's comeback. When it goes out, everyone is going to go and listen to it, and the fans, who support Treasure a lot already, when they don't release anything, will support a lot this comeback. I really think that this comeback is going to bring Treasure to the next level, because besides all of what I just said, I feel like they are coming back with a great song, and I think it's going to be one of the most successful songs ever released by a 4th-gen group, giving them their first win, and many more. I also think it will be the first song from a 4th-gen boy group to go big on Korean charts, and it will be one of the most successful comebacks of the year, and one that will be marked in history as one of the most iconics. We know YG is capable of this too, just look at Blackpink. I don't know if Treasure's comeback will be as successful as 4D, but it will do extremely well nonetheless. I think this release will be in February, and later in the year, they will also have a very successful comeback, probably in something like September or October, but this one will not be as big as the February one, but will manage to be a stable bridge from their 2022 success to their 2023 massive popularity. At least, that's what I see for them. CLC are disbanding. I feel like I need to mention this, but I don't think it's even a prediction at this point. With Eugene and Kepler and Sorna out of CLC, I don't see them continuing as a group when their contract ends. 2022 is going to be a great year for soloists. I don't know why, but I feel like some of the biggest releases from 2022 are going to be from soloists, and you will see some more of that later in the video. I also think we will see more idols that are currently in groups be more active as solo artists. BTS will not win a Grammy. Let's be real, the Grammys never gave an award to any boy group in history, not even One Direction, and they also rarely give awards to Asian artists, so they are totally not giving an award to a K-pop group. These awards have a big prejudice against K-pop, and we all know that, and that will cost BTS the Grammy. Also, if they didn't win with Dynamite, they are also not winning with Butter or Permission to Dance, that weren't able to achieve the success of Dynamite. Also, we have the controversy around Butter's achievements being mostly due to ARMY's hard work and not due to international recognition. The Grammys are going to have that in account too. Now that we are talking about BTS, let's move on to the next prediction that has to do with them too. BTS are going to have their biggest release, yet I feel like BTS are going to have two main releases next year, a Korean comeback and another English release. I think the Korean comeback is going to be near April, and it's going to have a lot of success, especially within the K-pop community. I also think that, even with it being a Korean release, it will strike amazing achievements internationally. For this Korean comeback, they are probably releasing a song that shows a lot more of what they are than their latest English releases, and that will attract the public to them and to the release. I think this comeback may be their most famous comeback to date, and it will be certainly a song that will carve its mark on history. But I think that HYBE is going to be a little too excited with this success and make them release another one of those English releases that have a stereotypic American pop side around September, with the idea that release will go even bigger internationally. Although it will probably do well, it would be far from the success of their Korean release, and I think it might be their weakest English release to date in terms of success. I don't think Jin will enlist this year already, since his birthday is on December, but rather at the beginning of 2023. By then, BTS will probably release a special album to celebrate the last occasion they will be OT7, at least for a year and a half. But as I said, that will probably happen at the beginning of 2023. Stray Kids' popularity will become stagnant. What I mean by this is that I don't see Stray Kids growing a lot this year. I think they are having two comebacks this year, and if I were to guess, the first one would be in March and the second one probably in September. I think the first comeback will have a lot of success, but not substantially more than the success Thunderous had, and I even think their second comeback will be one of their least successful comeback in these last 2 years, while still maintaining a big level of popularity. I think this is due to the nature of Stray Kids' popularity. Most of their popularity now came from the success of God's Menu, which people found a really interesting sound. From there, Stray Kids decided to focus on that kind of sound, turning it to their trademark and making the new fans stay with the group, at least for now. Why do I say that? Well, I don't really see Stray Kids being able to pull that sound forever, and that's the main thing that's keeping in those fans. It's important to note that most of their fan base is international, and that's really important, because what I am about to say now applies much more to the international fans than to the Korean ones. Stray Kids' sound now sounds fresh and new, but I think when that effect fades and the fans grow tired of that sound, I think Stray Kids will have a difficult time finding other sounds that will be able to please the fans. International fans are much more likely to understand an artist when it switches sounds than Korean fans, and Stray Kids' fan base is basically all international. With this said, I think their first comeback of 2022 will maintain their characteristic sound, but will not surprise the general public, and therefore, I think it will only maintain, or only be a bit more successful than Thunderous. With their second comeback, personally, I think they are going to still maintain their usual sounds and not present anything new to their release in relation to the others, which will make people not be really interested or invested in the comeback, and that will make the comeback not so successful. However, if they decide to change their sound in their second comeback, I actually think it's going to be really bad for them because, as I said, international fans are not really interested in those sound changes in groups that present themselves as a group with a characteristic type of sound, like Stray Kids after God's Menu, and they would lose the interest of most of their fan base, and the comeback would be their least successful from the past 2 years and would probably end up like they were at pre-God's Menu era. But if they do opt by their sound change, I can see them building up their fan base again and gaining more success in 2023, but not to what they were like this year. If they opt to maintain their sound, I think they will gradually lose interest by the general public and then by their own fan base. But I am actually very interested to see what will happen to them this year, so let's wait and see. Red Velvet will resign with SM. I had already said this last year too, but apparently their contracts only end next year, so I guess we are here again. I think the 5 of them will resign with SM. for at least 2 more years, but I don't see Red Velvet becoming really active next year, especially after the success of aespa, and will probably only have one comeback, and maybe some solo stuff. TXT will release their breakthrough song there. I said it, TXT are finally doing it. I see TXT having 2 comebacks next year. One will probably be in February already, and the other at the end of the 3rd quarter of the year, like September. Their February release will probably be the very awaited Minisode 2, which would be funny if it was something like White Day or Red Minute, and will be a very light-hearted comeback, very different from their 2021 releases. If I were to guess, it would probably be a pure innocent concept, like All Night by Astro, but a bit less mature and a bit more energetic. Being it's such a soft song, I can see this having a lot of success in the general public, especially the Korean one, and this will become their most famous song yet. Their second comeback will probably follow the footsteps of the previous release and have a lot of success, but the concept will be completely different, maybe a much darker one. Purple Kiss will gain a lot of attention. I think this year is going to be really good to Purple Kiss. I see them having 3 comebacks, one in February, another one during the summer, like July or August, and a 3rd one in October or November, and they are all going to be EPs. I don't know why, but I think their February comeback is going to make it big and even give them their first music show win. If I were to guess the concept, it would be a sci-fi one, but I honestly don't know, because these girls are really a box full of surprises. What I know is that Purple Kiss gathered a lot of attention in 2021, and they will make a good use to it in this comeback. Also, there is a history of second comebacks doing really well for 4th-gen groups, like with Wanted by Itzy, Dun Dun by Everglow, Stereotype by Stake, Next Level Savage. Depends if you consider Forever a comeback or not, but both songs did extremely well compared to the previous comeback, so the outcome is the same, by aespa, Lit by ENHYPEN, and the list goes on. Their 2 other releases of the year will do really good too, especially the 3rd one, because by then Purple Kiss will have a very big fandom, and the general public will be really invested in them, and would probably match the success of their February comeback, while the second comeback, the one in July or August, would probably be a bit less successful than the February one, but have much higher stats, due to the bigger fandom. Blackpink will have only 1 comeback. I think this one is a given already. If I were to guess the date, it would be March, a bit after Jisoo's drama stops airing. But I must say, it may be only 1 comeback, it will be one of the biggest K-pop comebacks of the year. The hype for this one is really big, and I don't think Blackpink are going to disappoint. I think the impact of this one is going to surpass the impact that D4 had. I think we are also getting a single album from Jisoo as her solo debut around July, and I think we might even have Jennie's first comeback as a soloist in November, 4 years after her solo debut, also with a single album. Overall, I see a great year for Blackpink. Monsta X will renew their contract with Starship. I really don't see Monsta X disbanding or changing agencies. They had their biggest release yet with Rush Hour, and that shows that their fan base is still very dedicated to them, and that the general public is still interested in them, so I don't see why they would disband or even change labels. ENHYPEN will become one of the biggest 4th-gen boy groups next year. It's no surprise that next year, a lot of 4th-gen groups are going to grow a lot. I think that ENHYPEN are totally going to be one of them. They have been one of a few 4th-gen boy groups that have been increasing steadily in popularity as time goes by, and that shows. From a group that started with 4K sales a week, they achieved 171K sales in a week with their last comeback. With Luna they also achieved the so much anticipated first music show win, and they are finally getting recognized by the general public. To all of this recognition, we still have 2 more factors to add to the mixture for a great comeback. The first one is the wait. I think ENHYPEN are only coming back in June. Best chances we get a comeback in May. That will be one of the biggest periods of time that ENHYPEN goes without a comeback. so the fandom will be more hyped around it. I also feel like their next song is going to be really good, even better than Luna, and have a much more general public-friendly concept, while still maintain their characteristic image as a group. All of this combined will result, in my opinion, in ENHYPEN's breakthrough in the industry. I think this song will do really well on the Korean charts and achieve a lot of wins, especially if it gets promoted in a good time. The international public will also soon follow the Korean public and also be interested in ENHYPEN's comeback. After this successful comeback, ENHYPEN will establish themselves as one of the biggest fourth-gen boy groups with their second comeback that will be equally as successful as the first one, and it will probably be released not much time later, maybe September. I think both comebacks will be in the form of mini-albums. I am really excited to see what they are releasing after Luna. Itzy are going back to their debut sound. I think Jip will start releasing much more experimental tracks with Itzy again, but only after the second comeback. I think everyone knows that Itzy have not been doing so well these last comebacks, which was really unexpected, really. Especially in the Korean public, it seems they are losing interest in Itzy, and that reflects on the charts. Also, they have been winning less and less music show wins for the past 3 comebacks. Don't get me wrong, they are still doing great, but not as good as during their debut days. I think they are having 2 comebacks this year, and judging by what they have been doing for the past 3 years, I think their first comeback of the year will be in May, and it will be a sound a bit more generic, like Loco, that does not show, in opinion, their own colors. Their second comeback of the year will be in October, and I think they are changing up things for this one and releasing something more Itzy-like for this comeback, especially if the first comeback fails to go against their declining in popularity. I think the second comeback may have a lot of success, but overall, I don't see Itzy having a good year in 2022. Astro will have their biggest release to date. MJ has to go to the military this year, and since his birthday is on March, I think it will be at very beginning of the year too. However, I do think Astro are coming back as OT6 before that happens. I think they are having a comeback in February, or maybe even late January, and it will be a full album, their third one. The fact that MJ had his solo debut in November this year already, and there is still no news about his enlistment date, supports this theory. I also think that this release will achieve massive success, and Astro are going to become inactive while being very famous. Their popularity in Korea has only been rising ever after All Night, and I think it's going to reach its peak with this release. After MJ's enlistment, I think the members will do solo or subunit activities instead of promoting as 5 members. Moonbin and Sanha subunit will probably have a comeback, and I think they may debut as subunit with the rappers Jinjin and Rocky. Yoonwoo will probably have his long-awaited solo debut, and maybe one of the other members can also go solo, probably Jinjin. DAY6's Jay will leave the band. This one is a given one, because Jay has already showed interest in leaving the band. I don't think the other members will leave the label or band though, but they will stay inactive for most of the year I think, with maybe a comeback from their subunit. There will be a dating scandal between 2 idols from famous groups. If I were to point out the groups, probably one member from either NCT or 17, and one member from Red Velvet or Itzy. There will be a dating scandal between the 4th-gen groups. Now that we are talking about the dating scandals, let me just put my other prediction here too. If I were to guess, I think it will be an idol from TXT or Treasure, and an idol from aespa or Everglow. In these groups, I am talking more about the older members, because I don't see the younger members assuming a relationship. I also hope the public receives it well, because they are very young, and that kind of toxicity could really affect them personally. A tragedy will occur to a group. I really hope this doesn't happen, but recently I had a dream about it, and I had the strangest feeling about it, and although I don't think it will happen with the group I dreamed of, now I can't get this feeling out of my mind, and I think it may really happen unfortunately, maybe to another group. I just hope at least it isn't as tragic as in my dream. But if this does happen, I think it will affect the group deeply, and they will probably be inactive for quite some time. Let's all pray for our idol's safety. Mamamoo will rise from the ashes. You heard that right, Mamamoo is coming back for you, I can feel it. Let's start with the solo activities. Moonbyul is having a solo comeback on January 19th. Please do a favor to yourself and go check it out when it comes out. I think this comeback is going to be her most successful one to date. However, it will not be as successful as some other members' releases, like Twice's Twit. I think it will have a moderate amount of success. Her album is going to probably sell really well, but the digitals could be better, but will be much better than those from her last solo release. I also think Moonbyul is going to have her first music show win as a solo artist. Maybe even more, if there aren't many comebacks that week. Then, I think we are getting Solar's solo comeback, either in March or April, and it will be also in EP. Solar's comeback is going to be huge. Her popularity in South Korea is only rising and rising, and her last solo release would be, at that time, almost 2 years ago. Join to All That, a great song, very experimental, and something you wouldn't expect for solo to release, but yet strangely catchy, good and also fitting. Boom, you have Song of the Year contender. I am not even joking, I really think Solar's solo comeback will even surpass Hwasa's Maria's success. I am also super excited to see what Solar releases, so I can't wait for her solo release. I think Ian will follow next, with her first solo comeback under the Live on May, or at the beginning of June, with an EP. I also think this song will have super success. I think it's going to be kind of a Gashina, but Ian's version, with the song having amazing achievement and surpassing by a lot the success of Watercolor, released this year. Just like with Sunmi's case, it's her first solo under the new label, and people are curious about it, especially the Korean public, but also Mamoo's, that have been having a hard time with RBW, and will be pleased to see a new label in action. But I don't see Ian's solo surpassing Solar's in terms of popularity, but they will be both two of the biggest releases of the year. Hwasa will soon follow and have her solo comeback with a full album in July or August, and will be the true solo comeback that Hwasa deserves, and RBW will be sure to invest a lot on it and compensate for what happened during Guilty Pleasure era. I think that we will also see a second comeback from Ian in September, with probably a digital single, or even a single album, and will be very well received too. It is not going to do as well as her first comeback though, but it will still be much more successful than all of her previous solo releases, and I feel like this song is going to be a personal favorite of mine, and will touch on topics about Ian's life that she never talked about before, at least so publicly. To finish this year off, Mamamoo are coming back in late October or early November with an EP, and let me just say it's going to slay. It's not going to be as successful as HIP, but will probably be more successful than Aya or Dinga, and certainly it will be more successful than Where Are We Now? This segment is already very long, so, for short, Mamamoo are going to have one of their best years yet in 2022, going against what everyone is saying, that they are losing the interest of the public even further in 2022. Twice will disband. If there's a thing that will shock everyone next year, it will be this. I know everyone is saying that they will be disbanding, but I think people will only really get it when it really happens, if it happens, obviously. Twice have been working non-stop for the past 6 years, and it seems like they are not getting any rest soon. Jip is really milking all of the money they can from Twice before they have to decide about their contracts. I even dare to say they are having 2 comebacks next year, one in April and another one in July, and a special comeback in October that will serve as special gift to the fans before disbanding. I also think their first 2 comebacks will not achieve a lot of success and will be in line with how they did now with Scientist, or even a little less. Obviously they are going to do well either way. We are taking here in Twice parameters of success. However, their special comeback at the end of the year will probably do really well and be one of most iconic comebacks of K-pop, especially because it's Twice's last 2. I do see some of the members resigning with JIP, like Nayeon, Jihyo, and Dehyun, but there are also some that will not resign for sure, like Momo, Jeonjin, and Mina. Overall, I think 2022 is going to bring us really good songs, and it's going to be a year where many groups will grow a lot, especially the 4th gen ones. But I also think it will accompany by some really big controversies or tragedies and some sense of sadness by those K-pop fans from the 3rd gen, because it will be the year where the 3rd gen starts to lose its force and the 4th gen will start to take over, and we will see a lot of 3rd gen groups disbanding or starting to be inactive or not having a lot of success with their releases. Well, this is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please be sure to check out some of my other videos. I would also like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you can spend this special holiday with those you treasure the most and with good health. Please stay safe. And let's hope for a really good 2022 for K-pop.
Fly me to the moon, 나를 데려가